Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Haverin, Haverot. I guess that's the cue, so we can start today. Thank you for your presence today. Thanks to the Creator. We gather here in our English Kli, in this great society, strengthening our connection every week with you, friends, one step at a time. Again, thanks to the Creator for supporting this meeting and creating these conditions so we can meet and get the updates that we need. Please, friends, call your tents, open your cameras as much as possible. We want to see each other. Tell anyone and everyone that we are meeting today. And for that, let's first hear our opening intention. Please go ahead, John.
Thank you, John. Look at all the beautiful faces on the screen. Man, you can't ask better for that, right? So, opening intention taken from Balaha Salam, letter number 18, says here, upon awakening, one should sanctify his first moment with Devkut with the Creator and pour out his heart so that no idle thoughts will come into his mind throughout the day. Lahaim, dear friends.
Lahaim. Thank you, John. Yes, friends, we're advancing. Today in Toronto, we woke up with a little bit of snow, even though it's still fall, but winter is telling us that it's coming, and we're advancing, friends. We're getting ready. So for that today, we have, as always, special guests, important information, and we will start today, as always, with the next step. So we have a great friend and his team, Zohar, will tell us all about the North American Congress next year in October. Please go ahead, Zohar. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, friends. Wow, what an exciting moment to be in front of your family and share exciting news and preparations towards our next degree. I don't know, our next degree is probably today, but tomorrow we have another degree and another degree. But a big one this 2026 is going to be, as you know, we made a lot of efforts in May of 2025 to have a Congress in North America after many years of not having a big Congress in North America. And this year we have final dates. We know from the management in BB that in February there was going to be a big Congress, the Global Congress in Israel, with whoever is going to gather from around the world. There's a second Congress planned somewhere in May that is still unclear, that we're not talking about yet. But in October, the last weekend of October, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, like the 29th to 31st, something like that. We're planning on having a regional Congress, just like we did in May, which means North America is going to have to host a big Congress. The plan is to start right now. We have a beginning of a team that is starting to work on the first step of everything, which is defining and finding a location, a venue where we can carry out this Congress. And so I met with the Arvut Team this week, and we already started the talk about it. I know some people are already kind of eager to contribute their findings and what they searched and what they found, and as you may know, there are a lot of criteria, a lot of options, a lot of things that have to be taken into account when you search for a venue for us. This last year when we did it, we looked and we found it was like this above reason concept of how are we going to have a Congress in North America? Who's going to pay? Who's going to fly? Who's going to, and all that. And it was like, how do we even guarantee, we always know that in BB we have these big statements, oh, we'll bring 1,000 people, we'll bring 1,000,000 people. In this case, we were like, if we can get 100 people, it'd be wow. In America, we got 100 people together. We ended up having closer to 250 people. And that was like an amazing feat of what we did as a society, the importance that was raised, and the excitement that we generated between us. Which means for this year, we shouldn't, and just so you have a little clue, last year we actually closed the deal, and later it came to against us in the end because we had so many problems with the venue. But we found a place that was 120, that was meant for 120 people, thinking, wow, this will be a good stepping stone towards starting the process. Obviously, we can't think that way anymore. We have to start thinking big. We have to think, if we had 250, there's no reason we shouldn't be looking for 300 or more, places this year. and not do this in a way that is not planned properly. So to share with you what's happening and also to ask you for some help at this point. First of all, this is our Congress. This is not someone else's preparing it for us. This is ours. And that's why I'm here to share with you. We're going to be meeting this week for the first time, a core team that's going to be concentrated on one thing, the process of defining, locating, sorting through lists of finding the best venue for us for 2026. We have the date. I'll share with you a few big challenges. For example, at the end of October, like John said just right now, I woke up in Chicago this morning to snow as well. Seriously, what? In the beginning of November, where the leaves haven't all fallen yet, what's going on? So 29th to 31st of October is this time. This is the time. So doing it outdoors in the Northeast somewhere like that might be a little bit of a challenge as far as the weather is concerned. So we can't. We have to think outside of the box with that. Like I said, the number of people that we're planning for, the fact that the Congress will probably end up being in the middle of the night and all kinds of situations like that we have to find a place that's perfect for that. So to help us in this process, not only are we building this core team that's going to help in the process of doing the work, we also employed a new employee in BB, in CABU, in North America, in our organization, called AI. We're using AI this time in a big way for the search. And we've actually created an agent, a custom GPT kind of thing that is going to help us in the process of going through the whole process of what I just said right now, defining criteria, helping us figure out what is really important to us and what is less important so that we can later sort through, if we have dozens of locations that we found, what is considered something that we considered a good score for something versus a low score. You know, what will we be willing to give up for on if it's for the sake of something else, if it's, you know, to accommodate everyone, to make sure it's convenient for everyone, that we can actually afford it, and all those good things. This custom GPT that we created guides us through this process. The team will be able to sit and talk to it, and it will ask. It will guide us in the process. It knows what steps we have to go through. It's already set up in a way where we have like an ongoing updatable spreadsheet that has like 8 different tabs with all the things that we're doing, where we can input some of our findings, where we can change things, where we can update it when we actually contact a venue and have new information that would change or add to the thing. In other words, we're creating a very, very serious search this time. We don't have a lot of time because, as you know, venues are not easy to find and you need time in advance. So this is a call for help. If you are someone who feels strongly about this and also about contributing in this specific thing, you think you're good at this thing, then contact, who should we contact? The Arvut team or me? Or, you know, if you want to be right away on this first meeting that we're setting up and be part of the core team, it's not going to be a big team, but anyone who feels that you can contribute to this, please let me know. Please let us know. Write to arvutsteam@gmail.com, like Mary put in there, and say, hey, I want to be in the venue search helping, and we'll add you on and make sure that you're invited also for our first meeting when we work on it this week. What it will entail is a little bit of legwork. You know, we're going to use the tools that the AI is giving us, but mostly there's going to be follow-up and sorting and actually going through the hoops of defining exactly what our perfect criteria are, what we need, what is a must, what is not, etc., etc. And so there you go. You can imagine there are also limitations as far as location. We have to think about where the majority of our friends are from, and whether you want to mobilize 80% of our people versus mobilize 20% of our people. These are all calculations we're going to take into account. Like I said, contact me or contact the Arvut team today and let me know that you want to be on this core team. But you can imagine that in the weeks to come, in the months to come, everyone's going to have to work here, from raising the importance to building this Congress together, to building the content together, to building the logistics together, to actually, managing it and doing everything that we have to do there, and making sure that this will be our Congress, a place where we not only connect and come and do the things that we are receiving, but also be able to give everything that we can give in this place. That's all I have for today to share with you. And I'm going to pass it along to Asaf, I think, right? I don't know if there's supposed to be questions or not, but if there are, you can ask them throughout the meeting. But Asaf, I'm passing it to you. I think you're going to be talking about Congresses as well, right?
Yes, friends. First of all, isn't it inspiring to hear Zohar already starting to cook up the next big thing? I think everyone's heart is already pumping. The last Congress in May was phenomenal. It was very unique, and it was a very great connection there between veteran friends and newer friends from that arrived from Cub U, and we're gonna make it even bigger and greater and powerful. We'll see who will come from Israel also. Maybe we'll have some surprises. Who knows? Okay, so there's one more aspect that is related to the Congress as well. We're considering whether we're able to hold a kids program or not, and whether we should do it or not in the Congress. And the first thing to understand is this has dramatic logistical implications. It has to do with insurances, it has to do with accommodation, it has to do with the price, it has to do with food, it has to do with manpower to man the program for such a thing. So we need to, obviously this is not the main goal of our event. If it happens, then it happens as an addition. What we want from everyone now is to know if you will not be able to attend the North American Congress in October 2026 unless there is some arrangement for your kids at the Congress. This is what we want to know right now, and we will send a form. I want to reiterate that we are not asking in that form if you think a kids program is a good idea. We're not asking if you think you would bring your kids to such a program. Right now we're asking one thing and one thing only. Are you a person who will not be able to attend looking at October 2026? You tell yourself, if I don't have any arrangement for my kids at the Congress, I will not be able to participate. If you know that about yourself, then you should fill out the form. We will send a link to a Google form to everyone through the WhatsApp groups, and that will be the one and only question there. Are you a friend who wants to participate in the October Congress 2026? And to do that, you have to have an arrangement there at the event for your kids. If that's your circumstance, that's your situation, then you fill out the form. Okay, this will also be written in the form itself. We will send it hopefully today, tomorrow to everyone. We'll also see that maybe friends who are not connected to the more veteran groups, friends connected to younger tens, if they're if they're an option to come to the Congress, then we'll see that this is sent to them as well. Please, if this is relevant for you, fill out the form during the week. By the end of the week, we want to know. Okay, this will really, really help us understand where things are going. All right, so that's it. We'll send the form, and if it's relevant for you, make sure you apply. You fill it out. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Go
John,
ahead,
maybe
go
there
ahead.
was a question before, I think, from someone, but maybe it's for Zohar. So yeah.
Margie, I think, had her hand up. You want to ask something, Margie?
That was an error. I was
Okay.
moving my keyboard.
Okay, I will say one more thing. Zohar kind of mentioned it, but also remember, when you're thinking about the kids, no kids situation, also remember it is the end of October. It's the beginning of November. It is going to be, we're looking for an appropriate place, and that probably has an effect also with regards to what we can and can't do when we're thinking about a potential kids program. So take that into account as well. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Thanks for this update. Thanks to Sohar, to Asaf, and thanks to all the friends in the teams that are starting to form to support the organization of this Congress. We really appreciate that silent work that all these friends prepare for us. And thanks to you as well, friends. We started a little bit weak. We have right now 111 friends. Wow, what an example of real connection. Thanks for your heartfelt presence in today's gathering. Your unity and warmth lift up this meeting. Let's keep this spirit of gratitude and connection alive as we move together towards our North American Congress next year. And next point in the agenda, we have the Arvut team, which will talk about responsibility on the path. For that, I think we have Hein. Go ahead. Thank you, Hein.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. How are you feeling? I hope everyone's good. Look, guys, I'm very optimistic. I think we'll find a nice spot, like a nice little hotel somewhere in New Jersey on the beach. It'll be nice and cool, not too warm, not too cold. And there'll be room for kids and for us and for everyone. And it'll be good. It always is. Never been to a Congress in America that wasn't good. And I think the last one was actually the best. Okay, so now to another topic. Before we get into the practical work in the 10 session that we've got for you today. It's actually not about responsibility per se. It's about fiscal responsibility in the 10, in people's personal lives, but people who belong to 10s. We've had a few requests, or people turn to us several times recently with people who have financial difficulties. Now, we all go through times when we have financial difficulties, well, at least most people. And when you're in a 10 and we're promoting the value of mutual responsibility, things can get a little tricky in terms of understanding what can I ask of the friends? What am I supposed to expect of them? How are they supposed to relate towards me? Not only from me to them, if I'm the one in need, but also from them to me. How should they relate to my situation? So there are many issues, and there's no black and white here. There's no right or wrong. It's a case-by-case situation, but there are several ground rules that we need to keep. Rule number 1, do your best not to become a burden on the 10. Meaning what? Just imagine that you didn't have the path and you didn't have the friends to rely on. You didn't have anyone to support you in case of something going wrong. What would you do? You would, if you're a reasonable person, take care of things in advance. You would have some sort of a health insurance, life insurance, retirement program, right? These things are mandatory for Kabbalists. It's part of life. It's not any less important, for example, than being married on the path, or from paying maaser. All those things that are very basic. Why? Because they guarantee that in case I'm going through a tough time, I have something to rely on which I built for in advance. Because, for example, we've had situations where people asked for permission to start a GoFundMe for a friend who was in serious trouble. Understood. But if we permit that, then we have to permit that for everyone who is in serious trouble. And when a 10 approaches, even as a 10 approaching the Arvut team with that kind of request, they see that person's, their friends, dire need for money, and they're relying on the generosity of the friends. But that 10 is not aware that in other 10s, there are people who might be in the same or even worse situation. Some people with terminal illnesses and no funds, not even for medicines. Barely enough for food, no money for heating, talking about the winter. All kinds of social help that's needed because they have all kinds of disabilities because of age or sicknesses or whatnot. And if we permit that and say, go ahead and start a GoFundMe and start spreading the link to the donation, then what about the rest of the friends? So we need to allow that to everyone. And this thing can explode. And we're not getting any younger. So these things will become more and more frequent. So what are we doing? Are we helping the friends or are we burdening the friends? How do we decide correctly? So this is a serious situation. And the best solution to the situation is to avoid it altogether, to be wise in advance and take the necessary precautions not to get into it. Make sure you have something to fall on for a rainy day. You know? I'm not saying that under any circumstances we will not choose to try to help someone. But that would be a rarity, not something to rely on. A 10, that said, can decide that they, as a 10, want to help, even financially, a certain person. But even this should be with permission from the Arvut team. Why permission? Not because you guys are, kids and need our permission, like parents, because you need to have an outside look on things, someone with an outside perspective, a more objective perspective. And there needs to be a limit to how much you may donate to help a friend. For example, in Bnei Baruch, we have for a long time, we've had this law that it is forbidden for one friend to lend money to another friend when it's more than 20 shekels, which is like $6. If it's more than that, if someone asks me for a loan that's higher than 20 shekels, there's a committee or a social committee, or there used to be some other committee that I have to go and get their permission. They may allow me to lend the money or not allow me, and then I won't be able to. That's assuming I want to lend the money. For people who have this dire need for funds or something like that, they can also approach that committee and say, I need financial help. And then they may get a loan. They won't get a grant. Just here, go ahead, take 5,000 shekels, no problem. That doesn't happen. Because every friend is required to be fiscally responsible for himself. Moreover, if a person is not responsible, we don't know who has a retirement fund or a health insurance and all that. But if a friend, for example, is unemployed for a long time and has no income, then he can't stay in Bnei Baruch. Social committee tells him, you're not allowed to come to the lessons until you get your life in order. How do we know? You show us paychecks or some income if you're a contractor or something, and you pay your dues, your debt to the center, to Bnei Baruch, that you pay maaser, everything that's needed. And then that person is allowed back in. So that's on that. It's very important. It causes problems in tens, it causes problems in people's lives. And just in general, being a calculated person is a good idea in general in life. Okay? So enough of that, unless you guys have questions about that. I don't see any hands. If you do, just open the mic and ask. Genia.
Yes, hi, Chaim. I have a question. So just a quick follow-up. So let's say if in our 10 we have friends who, let's say, retired, so then they're not working, right? Or for example, they currently on a leave because of disability, so they're not working. Is that like okay for 10, or like is neighborhood allowed those friends to stay? Like, because I think like how that work, like, because we have different friends, different like age groups, and you just said if you don't work, you don't make a paycheck, neighborhood would like make you leave. I think it's a little.
No. Don't take it to the extreme. If a person pays can pay his bill, he can pay his bills. You know, he's managing. It's not our business how he manages his finances. We just want to make sure that people actually do manage their finances. It's not against the law to retire, you know. So just make sure that everyone's okay and that they're taking care of themselves. And let's just do our best not to be a burden on the society and not to be, not to find ourselves in difficult situations. That's all. Okay? Anything else?
Hi,
No.
may I ask a question?
Yeah. Brenda, yeah, go ahead.
Why do you say that it would be a burden on society if the individual or the 10 really wants to help this individual? Because circumstances can vary all over the map when it comes to need or situation. So why would it necessarily be a burden to the 10?
Well, because if a person is constantly drawing money from the friends in the 10, and we've had such situations, it becomes a burden. Just imagine you have someone in your 10 who is constantly asking for money, constantly, every month, and you don't know when it's going to end.
Suppose you really love this person. and they have become like your own family.
Let's see how much you love that person 6 months down the line when they borrow $100, $200, $300 from you every month.
Well, suppose you give it every month whether they ask or not.
What?
You're
Well, I don't know.
assuming
Maybe you're corrected, more corrected than the rest of us. But for the rest of us, that general rule works. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect is that as soon as there's a financial relationship between friends, there's no friendship. Not in the spiritual sense. There's a relationship of dependence. There's biasness. That person is already indebted, you know? And so it's not an equal relationship anymore. So it can't be a spiritual relationship anymore. So you've jeopardized the spiritual relationship because of this financial situation. So we want to avoid that. As we say, at all cost. Well, not at all cost, but as much as possible. Okay? All right. We really got into it. Let's see. So you guys want to move on to the next topic? Okay. Our next topic is differences in the, sorry? Did someone say something?
Yeah, maybe it
Julia.
might make sense. Yeah, like if we have help Javier for like congresses, maybe there should be some fund for like life type of issues. Like the same way we purchase our health insurances every month, just like agree that well, just make some sort of payments towards that fund. And
I'll stop you there. Okay. Actually, Julia, that's an interesting idea. In Petah Tikva, we have a kind of fund. It's a community fund where we give 20 shekels a month. We've been giving it for at least now more than 20 years. Asaf, how many years is that?
How many years is what?
The 20 shekels thing.
Ah, that's for a long time. Didn't we up it recently?
Did we?
I think
For
we
some
did.
families, who use the Galleria, yes. Not for me. I'm an oldie.
No, it's
So
for a
for me,
long,
still
long time. I
20.
remember it from the old center for sure.
Yeah. For more than 20 years now. So we give a certain amount, very small amount. It's really affordable. But everyone who's in the community gives it. And then when someone is in need, they can apply to that fund to get a loan. But it's a loan. It's not a grant, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Asaf. I think it's a loan.
Ken,
And
unless there's like a critical health situation where there's no other something extreme.
but in any case, it's a committee that decides on that, and it's not between friends. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't ruin the equality in the 10. It's a community thing. Now, that's kind of what you're suggesting, if I understand correctly.
yeah, this is what we used to have in the physical group. Like every month we collected money, well, just for rent, but part of it went towards that financial net. And like if
So let me, you know what, write an email to the Arvut team with this idea, and we'll discuss it. And if we decided it's a good idea, we will announce it. And we'll announce the sum. It won't be a significant sum in any case. And it will be, in my opinion, voluntary. A person who donates, participates, or is eligible to receive a loan when in need. It shouldn't be mandatory. That's my opinion, my personal opinion. I just thought about this idea that you brought up. But we'll discuss it. It's an interesting idea. Okay?
Hey, I just
Yeah, Dave.
last week in the 10, we talked about the 10 Congress that may happen next year. And we felt that was really important. So the agreement we made was if all the friends can't afford to come to that 10 Congress, that the friends that can afford to help them would make that possible. What do you think about that? We agreed on that to do that as a 10. Can you comment on it?
That's a decision that a 10 needs to take. It's really not for us to say. Again, it depends how much money we're talking about, how much it would mean that you would have to give. If you're given $50 in order to enable a person to get a plane ticket, right, which would be, if it's just helping one friend, and I guess if every friend donated $50 for that purpose, you would be able to buy a ticket. No, it would be something like what, $600, $500. That should do it. So it's not that steep, you know. So a 10 may decide to do it, but it's a 10's decision. It's not something general from the Baruch. It's not a general recommendation. There's no obligation on the part of anyone to do that. It's your own decision. If you guys decide that this brings you together and you really want to see that friend with you, and you know his heart is with you, and it's really his circumstances just don't allow him to be there, but his heart is there and he makes every effort. Okay, so you decided on it. It's great. It's highly respectable.
Okay, thank you.
But it's like I said, it's your own circumstances.
Is it supposed to be a loan or just, supporting a friend?
Good question. I think that is also up to you guys to decide.
Can I say something about the loan you were talking about just before this? Can any friend, if he donates towards the fund, can any friend ask for a loan for any reason, or does it have to be for something within the society, a reason for something within the society?
For any reason, or does it have to be something for, like, if I want to renovate my house, for example? So I need to ask you guys for what?
No.
Why a loan, a grant? Just,
no, it's if I have,
guys, I need 20 grand. Can you?
No, it's for, like, I guess you're right. The question was ridiculous. Okay.
Guys,
Can I just, sorry, can I just add, I don't know, maybe I'm just new with like 10 works, but honestly, I would feel very uncomfortable if someone in my 10 would ask me to lend them money for, I don't know, if they needed, I don't know, to like fix their car or anything from like corporeal. But if they like on a really hard time and something else is going on with their health or something else, I would think about it. But maybe like I'm not on that path like long enough, but like many other requests would feel me personally very, very uncomfortable. So I don't know.
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point. It is so easy to get into a situation where friends feel exploited, and that their generosity and their kindness and love and warmth for the friends is being misused. Okay, money is very sensitive. So we need to be very careful. If we do ask for help, it needs to be because otherwise I'm really in a desperate state, like physically desperate state. Okay. Asaf, I think you wanted to add something in addition about being a burden in the 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, just because I see there's a few questions on this. First of all, and maybe this is relevant to what Brenda wants to continue to ask about. First of all, I mean, this whole topic is sensitive. It's sensitive, and you know, we need to here be very sensitive about seeing the difference between corporeal help and spiritual help, and when spiritual help is corporeal help, and the other way around. It's not that simple. And you know, Rav always told us that Rabash was very cautious with these things, very, very cautious. And so should we. So first of all, the attitude is be cautious. Now, about not being a burden on others, that's actually a very deep spiritual and profound principle. This has to do with our Arvut, this has to do with our connection. Meaning, when I, as a Kabbalist, I go to work and I make money to pay my bills, if I follow the rule, the principle of not to be a burden on others, that becomes my motive. Meaning, I don't want to be in a case of needing money so that I don't need to fall on the friends. And that is part of my arvut towards them. So it becomes a spiritual thing. So what I do in life, making sure that I can pay my bills, that I have food to eat, that this donkey, right, that this animal that I have has what it needs, so that I don't need to bother the friends and take from their energy, their dedication to the goal and their energies and focus, all of that. I want them to focus on the goal. So I make sure that I am not a burden. That's the concept. It's a very deep thing. And so, Brenda, in relation to what you asked, also, that should be the attitude of every person in the 10, that I take care of my corporeal necessities. Even that I do in a way that I want to make sure that I'm only helping the friends and I don't want to become a burden on them corporeally and spiritually. It's the same thing, because if I take their energies, if I take their time, if I take their efforts to anything besides thinking about the Creator, and I don't care about that, okay, the friends will take care of me, you know, okay, you know, I'm in a society of where everyone cares for each other. So no, then I become an unhealthy cell in the body. Okay, so these things are we have to be very cautious. Understood why Kabbalists took great cautious with these things, and understand the spiritual attitude here that lies in those seemingly corporeal affairs. All right, so this is very important.
I'm going to steal 30 seconds from everyone, because I think everyone is looking for an example. How do we do this without corrupting our connection and our spiritual being? And we have a great example that everyone's acquainted with, and it's Help Chaver. You know, for congresses, what do? We create a fund that is funded by friends who want to contribute and donate to people and to help people come to the Congress, not to help them, fix their cars and all that, but specifically for the purpose of connection. And we take it out of the relationship between people of money going like that, and it's going to a committee that defines what are the best criteria for someone to be in a Congress and who we want to help and all that. And that way you get to help friends get help, because it happens. We find ourselves in situations where we really want to connect or pay something or pay our dues and all that, and we fell out that month and it didn't work out. So it's an example of ways that the society has used exchange of money. By the way, we pay our dues and they're used by someone else, and we don't decide where our money goes, just like with Maser and etc. So there are ways to do it, but it has to be done in a very, very meticulous way where we don't have money between friends. That's a terrible thing.
Okay. So we will have our practical work in the 10 session next week. I'll just tell you the topic right away. It will be the differences in the level of dedication. It's also something very juicy and interesting to talk about. Sure, you'll have many questions. If you already have questions about them, you're welcome to send them in advance. And we will talk about that next week. And back to you, John.
Oh, thank you. With gratitude to the Creator, to our dear 119 friends connected at one time today. Thanks to our special guests for joining us today. A special thanks to Haim, to Asaf, to Zohar for their heartfelt clarification on responsibility in the 10. And to all the friends for your sincere questions and care in helping one another. Who would have thought that we might have a master class on how to deal with sensitive issues helping our friends? That's just a miracle, and thanks for that. Friends, may the light of connection guide us through the week ahead until we meet again next week as one heart in one Kli. Thank you, friends. Go ahead, Vesna, send us with a song. We don't have nothing in the Arvut team, so we have still a few minutes. Thank you, friends.
Lost in the sea of empty pleasure, then racing after plastic treasure. Now something's calling through the pieces of the heart. There's something more, there's something better. And the light's gonna shine through darkness, and the heart's gonna beat as one. We rise higher, 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 higher. Forever trying to find a reason, what to hold on to and believe in.
Lahaim, friends, thank you. Have a great week.
Hi.
Hi.